It's amazing how many people don't like Ron Paul out there. You would think that he personally did something to them, or he's like Obama or something.
A lot of stuff he says makes perfect sense.
Ron Paul's number's up. It's time for him to undergo the smear campaign.
They're scared half to death of this Ron Paul thing. They really truly scared that. You know why? Because it's going to undermine the powers that be, and they can't control him. And I tell you what, we need to get a security force around that man.
You can't convince me that this man is a racist. Just listen to all the stuff he said. He is the least racist out of all the candidates, including Obama.
They're slandering this guy's name and running it through the mud because they are truly afraid that he's gonna unleash the potential of the American people, dog. And it would be a revolution, dog. And this revolution doesn't have to be fought with guns and blood flowing in the streets, you know what I mean? It's gonna be a philosophical revolution. We have to change the way we're thinking.
So I'll post as a black man. As a matter of fact, I'm going to approach my contribution to Ron Paul's message of liberty from a black perspective, a pro-black perspective.
I wanted to make it very clear that Ron Paul, he is not a racist. I mean, look at what he talks about. First of all, he's a libertarian. So you can't be a libertarian and be racist at the same time. You just can't.
Ron Paul, keep on doing you, man. When they start coming with that nonsense, answer the question like you did, and then take the damn mic off and walk on out the door.
Let me tell you something, folks. This is nothing but grandstanding. We should know the corporatized media are professional spin doctors. They see that this man is in the hunt for the Republican presidential nomination. It's funny. You think, and this is going to be, just really common sense. And since it's racist, and since they're going off the premise that Ron Paul is racist towards black people, then I have to speak to black America right now. I have to speak to, just right now, of course this video is for all, but I'm speaking specifically right now to black Americans, if you're listening. Do you really think the corporatized media cares about how Ron Paul feels about you? Do you really think they really care? And if they do, by exposing him as being some kind of old, white, bigoted racist, what are they going to do about it? Certainly, it's not to raise you out of the condition in which you're in, but only to knock off a man who can bring back the ideas of natural rights, the ideas that I can do for myself without any intervention or meddling from government. Do you really think they care about that? No, they don't. They don't care about you, black America. They want to use the ideas of racism. They want to use this as a tool to knock this man off.
That said, what makes this most interesting is his being charged with being a racist because of some comments made in the newsletter that he was over, 18 or 20 years ago. I'm not dismissing it, I'm just saying it's interesting because Ron Paul's against the war on drugs, and as it stands now, blacks constitute about 14% of illegal drug users in the United States. But there's 65% of those incarcerated for nonviolent drug use. 14% of the users, 65% incarcerated for nonviolent drug use. That's a huge difference. That's beyond racism. That's way out of proportion. There may be reasons, there may be not, but the bottom line is those are the facts. And those are facts that Ron Paul's actually quoted as well. Now, under Ron Paul, what he would like to do is he'd like to end the war on drugs, first of all. What he would also like to do, the biggest part of this, is that he wants to pardon all nonviolent drug users. That overwhelming disproportionate percentage of black people who are incarcerated for nonviolent drug use would be then released, which means black uncles, brothers, sisters, cousins, aunts would be released from jail or prison like that. Now, if you want to talk about something someone said under his management of a paper 20 years ago, that's fine. But to me, that totally annihilates any claims of racism. But the thing is, even if he did harbor negative feelings or biased feelings or racist feelings, to be honest, I may have a few feelings about certain groups when I sing too. I don't choose to. It might not be the most sophisticated thing, but I think everybody has some group feelings, whether they admit it or not, to an extent. Anybody who's honest does, I would say. And to tell the truth, I don't particularly care if Ron Paul likes people my height, people my color, people my shape, people my sexuality, people my income status, people who live in the area I live in. I don't care if he likes me. I just need him to do his fucking job. That's all I care about.
Why don't they like Ron Paul? I guess they're brainwashed. No different from the North Korean people, I guess. You know, they brainwashed and believe in all of the status quo. You know, all of the rhetoric that these other candidates been talking for years. You know, ever since presidential debates been going on. I say you only have a handful of candidates that really are for the people. Most of them are not for the people. Most of them will say anything to walk into that office. A lot of people say, "Oh, Ron Paul, he seems like he's saying he can say whatever he wants to step in office." And I said, well, I shot the guy another PM. I said, the difference between Ron Paul and the other candidates is he's not saying what they saying. That's how you can differentiate him from the other candidates. They're saying on the same bullshit that Obama been saying.
This whole everything is dualism. You know what I mean? Like you watch any type of mainstream news outlet. Everything is dualism. Left versus right, Republican versus Democrat, Christian versus Muslim. You know what I mean? And they're all straying away from the fact that we're all people. And the highest level of attainment throughout our history, throughout any civilized nation, has always been to reach for freedom and liberty. You know what I mean? And the fact is, Ron Paul got the best message hands down. And I'm gonna tell you, don't play into the games, man. You know what I mean? Because we fell for that Barack Obama shit. I voted for the dude. You know what I mean? And he was basically running off. I'm a scholar of the Constitution. I will follow the Constitution. Yo, this motherfucker's been trampling all over that shit since the day he got in the office. You know what I mean?
Hard time trying to convince me that Ron Paul is a racist and that he is bad for America. Because, for a while I stopped believing in this voting and all this crap. Because, it looked fraud, and by the way, your media reports, you can tell it's kind of biased. Matter of fact, it's really biased. So I said, man, I don't believe in this crap. After used car salesman Obama came up and just basically crapped on every single body and went against everything he said, I lost hope because I didn't see change. But now Ron Paul, he making some sense, man. And I can see that this guy, he's legitimate. And you jokers are tripping.
Ron Paul, check out the website and start listening to a lot of the stuff he says when he's on TV. Because every time I didn't see this dude, he's been making perfect sense about the healthcare, about the wars, about the Federal Reserve. All of this stuff is just on point, man. And I didn't fact check the dude and everything. And everything he has said has been truth. And a lot of stuff Obama has said has been lies.
I want to talk about what I saw on Fox News about Ron Paul being a spoiler. I'm sorry. I've got to laugh because just the way they say it with such disgust. They make him sound like he's in a box or a carton of eggs in the refrigerator with that. He spoiled it. He's gonna spoil everything. Man, they are fighting hard. They are fighting so hard.
Look at the history of our country and look and see what this country has done to every single presidential candidate that would not bow down their knee to the establishment and do it the way that they say do it. Hey, all this warmongering, senseless, useless and stuff. The empire is on the run and is just about at its end. All you black people out there, don't pay attention to this mudslinging stuff. Take a person at their words. Take a person at their words. And then listen to what they say. And then look at the spirit in which these people speak and talk and how they just continue. You know why? Because they don't have nothing else. Rick Romney is a hypocrite. Michelle Bachmann, she need to go on back home somewhere, and her stupid self. She looked just totally idiotic with her fear-mongering. We better get them. We better get them. Just stupid thing and stuff. But anyway, I think the establishment is afraid because the whole entire country is waking up. So the more they sling mud at Ron Paul, the more that people, they look and they see, they understand. And then people like me, people like other people who see what goes on, we are able to reach the people who can't read between the lines of what's really truly going on. So
to change our thoughts about Ron Paul, it's precisely why you see many YouTube videos of black folks making videos calling Ron Paul a racist, while at the same time not even giving so much as a whim about his constitutional stance on issues like economic reform, gun rights, personal and natural rights. The very things that can get the very people he's accused of being racist of out of the situation in which they have found themselves in. It's funny. All one has to do is follow the trail of deceit by this corporate media. That's why I say this man is not a racist. He may sound wacky to the average American because he actually makes sense. Peace.